Jambo, fellow adventurers, it's Mike Dooley. I'm still getting used to this Google Live Hangout on air, but it's coming along. It's really cool. I hope to expect to be using it a lot more to answer your questions, make announcements, share, help people in their adventures of life. So for right now, the Q&A panel, I believe to the right of your screen should be up. So that is if you're signed on through Google. So if you are, go ahead and type your questions and I will do my best to get to as many as I can during the next 20 minutes. I see we have 0 viewers. What did I do wrong? Where are my people? Hey, Cami, can you look at my Tut author page and click the link through and see if you can see me on Google Hangouts Air?
You mean your Facebook?
Yeah, yeah. If you got a question and you're paying attention, please go ahead and type out your question. Okay. Hey, everybody. I see you're signing up now. So please type your question to the right of the monitor, and I will be happy to give it an answer. Yay, I can be seen. So go ahead, anybody, type a question. This is just a short little trial. I hope you're watching it live. If you're watching the YouTube, then you can't ask a question, the recording. But right now, this is live, 3:03 Eastern Time. Okay, here come the questions. Hey, Cami.
Hey.
I can see it's working now.
Oh, it's working now?
Yeah, okay. It wasn't working before. All right, so I saw a question a moment ago. Welcome, Purita. Welcome, Felicia. There's 10 of you watching right now. Go ahead and ask a question. I would love to answer your questions. I'll be hanging out here for at least 15, 20 minutes. And just so that I can get to know Google Hangouts live on air, I plan on broadcasting these in the future. So cool. I'm seeing pictures of you guys. Those of you who made comments, thank you for your nice comments. Tell folks to press the little box with 9 squares. Choose Q&A. Oh my God. Thank you, Cheryl Blankney. Yes, indeed, folks. Please, if you're watching through Google Plus, then press the little box with 9 squares. Choose Q&A. Okay. Thank you for that, Cheryl. Okay, first question, Janet. How I finally am able to type a question. Okay. How does one know they are going on the right path? That's a torturous question when you feel uncertain about where you're giving your time, your energy, your money, your focus and attention, until you come to realize that there is no such thing as a wrong path. But yet, because we don't feel like we're on the yellow brick road, it seems like, well, this can't be it, and I hope it takes me there. All paths will take you there. So rest easy. Don't be sweating it, and don't be discouraged that right now in your life it appears that nothing's happening, or that things aren't working, or that there's no clarity. If you continue to dream in terms of the end result of joy, happiness, friends, laughter, I know you're on board with that, abundance, health. If you continue to dream these big picture dreams, and go ahead and fill up a vision board with details that come from a dream like that. Just don't get embroiled in the details, because what it's about is your big, rocking, awesome, happy, joyful, rich life. So if you're holding on to that vision, then whether you're going to the mall or going to bowl or learning to speak Spanish, you're on the right path. And every day, ask yourself, what else can I try? How else can I do this? Where else may I consider knocking on doors? That alone, end results, taking action, open to changing course. Just be open to it. You don't have to change course. Be open to it. Who else could you ask for help? Where else could you go for answers? How else might you approach abundance? Ask these questions and prepare to be astounded. All paths will take you there. There is no wrong path. Thinking that there is a wrong path, however, can so deflate you that it will be almost as bad as if there were wrong paths. Thank you for that great question, Janet. I have the same question as, all right, so let's see what Marcy's question is. So I can answer two of your questions at the same time. How can you get back into flow when you're feeling out of it? Oh, these are great questions. How do you get back into flow? When was the last time I felt out of flow? I know that sounds kind of like, oh yeah, but man, I have been so not in flow so most of my life that it's a good question for me to be presented with. There's two things that come to mind how to get back in flow. I remember a quote from my brother Andy, sometimes quite the wise sage, Andy Dooley. He would say, back when we were selling t-shirts, Mom, Andy, and I, and we would have a slow week, month, or year, and things just weren't going the way we wanted to, not as fast as we wanted them to. In the end, if you don't know my story, we did sell $10 million worth of our own line of t-shirts over 10 years. But it was one heck of a run for three people, with stores and trade fairs and international travel for all of us. Well, anyway, Andy would often say when things were going slow, when all else fails, read Seth, S-E-T-H, Seth books, dictated by the late Jane Roberts. And I think for me, I would switch that up a little bit, although I totally agree with him, and Seth is the godfather of metaphysical teachings in our little worlds. But I would say what that means is get back to truth. When all else fails, drill down to truth. Read any book that has ever resonated with you before, a spiritual book, a self-improvement book, a DVD, hang out with those kind of friends, go to a workshop, go to a seminar, be reminded of truth, because everything else that's happening in our world, the affairs, and I don't mean that loaded, the affairs of our lives, virtually it's all lies. And the way the world is set up right now, it's just constantly telling you you're getting older, you're falling down, you're falling apart, you're not what you used to be, chances are against you. And those are the lies that we tend to believe in, making us feel like we've fallen off path. So number one, just drill down to truth and have none of that BS that the world is dishing you. And when you start going within, thinking deep thoughts, knowing what is really true, and being supported by some great works, friends, family, you will feel restored. The other thing to do is get busy. And one of my favorite punchlines or PSs in all the notes from the universe, and sometimes I've said it as literally, once again, taking action saves the day. And there was a note, one of my favorites, that said, the real reason for loneliness, one of the main reasons for loneliness, for this, for that, for all these common ailments, is a lack of being busy. And too often this is seen in people who are new to spiritual thinking, metaphysical thinking, and they think the universe is going to show up on a unicorn and live their life for them. It's like, not unless you're out there, reachable by the divine. When you're reachable, after having programmed the magic with your end results, and you're open to trying this, trying that, not insisting on any one path or any cursed how being the solution, you can't be stopped. And this upward spiral takes off to the point where you get, when someone asks you a question like this, you have to think back, when was the last time I felt just off track? Thank you for that great question. Do you have some tips on not obsessing? I thought there was a way that people could rate or vote for their favorite question, and I could see the most popular question, but I'm not seeing that right now. If anybody knows how, they could type it in. But all these questions are good. Okay, from Robert, do you have some tips on not obsessing on the cursed hows? Timing, where, when, who? Okay, totally. The thing that makes a cursed how is not what you do. It's how you view why you did it. And if you viewed why you did it as how your dream would come true, it's a cursed how. If instead, performing the same step, going to the same meeting, calling the same person, you viewed your reason as being, maybe this will be my ticket, maybe not. But I'm going to do this to the best of my ability while I also do that and the other and so on. And now you're knocking on lots of doors. Now there's not insistence or attachment to a how. Because as soon as you have attachment or insistence on a path, you exclude all other possibilities, including better ones that you weren't wise enough to know, but the divine intelligence is always wise enough to know. That's how you free yourself from worrying about all this minutia and embroiling yourself in these details that are so truly unimportant. You still think of them, you still try them out, you still go to the meeting, you still start the book, you still print the business cards, but you surrender to, I must make this work because I've seen The Secret 30 days in a row and the universe loves me and my thoughts become things. That kind of insistence and dogma and attachment is the problem. If you're not attached to the how, but only to the end. Let me rephrase that. If you're not attached to the how, but only attached to the wow, then you're in a great place. Okay, it's the wow that you're after, not the how that you're after. That doesn't mean there won't be hows, though. Every day you're surrounded by go this way, go that way. Those are all hows. They become cursed when you say it's got to be this player, it's got to be this girl, it's got to be this contract, it's got to be the corner office, it's got to be the employer, the client, the customer, it's got to be because the universe loves me. Not good. Mike, how do I get an autographed copy of your, okay, I got to select these first. Mike, how do I get an autographed copy of your new book? Oh, Shelley, thank you for valuing that, I guess is the right way to put it. Well, just because there's not a whole lot of you watching, there's 24 of you watching right now. Okay, I'll tell you all how to do it. Go, I mean, the offer expired because it's just too time consuming to sign a ton of books. But the new book is really special and it's really important to me, and I'm glad you cared. So go to the new book page at tut.com. It's, go to the shop page, and, the top 10 things dead people want to tell you has its own page in our shop. And you'll see that there are instructions there on how to get your book signed. And it says that the offer ended on November 7th. The secret is, if you follow those steps, then for you, the offer continues. I got to remember this is going on YouTube. But again, we're going to, even though it's ending November 7th, we're going to probably announce that it will be reinstated because it was quite popular. And the holidays are coming up. And I think it's win-win for everyone. So it's more than one book, Shelley. But there is an avenue, whereas normally there's not. Or join me in Bali, Indonesia, Kenya, Africa, or at any of my other speaking gigs coming up, including this weekend at Minneapolis, Minnesota, or Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where books will be for sale in the back of the room, and I would love to sign yours, Shelley. Thank you for asking. All right, how are we doing? We're doing great. I love these questions. Thank you, Terrence, for your question. What is your viewpoint on living in now and appreciating the present moment? In many ways, Terrence, that is the be-all and end-all of why we're here. We're here to be in the now. We're not here to be in the now so we can think about the future, although it gets a little tricky because that's one way to shape the future. But just as any of my former dogs, and they're all in a better place right now, would demonstrate, it didn't matter who they were with, it didn't matter where they were with it. What mattered is that moment. And we all have that ability to realize that we are caked in miracles, and that even focusing on the needs of someone you love is such a gift and an opportunity. And I mean, my book is coming to mind, The Top 10 Things Dead People Want to Tell You, because it's a book about living. What the dead people want to tell you is to get it on now, to enjoy the splendor of what you have, because on the other side, there's a long line of people waiting to get back into these sacred jungles of time and space. And that doesn't detract from what it's like on the other side. But however awesome it is, and it's more awesome than words could ever manage, it's even better here on the razor's edge of reality creation, particularly in the now. The only final thought I'd like to share with you, Terrence, on that great question is, I think people can, in all areas of life, be too difficult with themselves and beat themselves up. And, oh, I'm worried too much about the past, or I'm worried about what might happen in the future, or I'm thinking about what others are thinking of me, or I'm wondering if this is going to pan out, or that's going to pan out, or how do I find my path, get back on track? Oh, I'm not living in the present. Oh, God, I've gone through all of these kind of learning curves. And during all of them, when I would become self-aware of my absence from the present, or of my negativity, or of my tendency to be judgmental of self and others, or of my 2001 other flaws, I'd be like, oh man, I'm ruined. Oh, how can I am so negative. I'm so not in the present. It's like back to a theme of all of my work is realizing you're not vulnerable. Not you, Terrence, not me, Mike, not anybody listening right now. We're gladiators of truth and joy and power, truly with an inclination to succeed, given our divine heritage. So in the moment you realize you'd like to be a little more present, be a little bit more present and stop beating yourself up. In the moment you decide to be positive when you're feeling negative and your negativity doesn't play along and you're still feeling bummed out and negative, bless it. Hey, okay, go ahead and have your little pity party. But simultaneously, I'm going to think some good thoughts. There is so much elasticity, so much play, so much forgiveness in the universe that if you just know of how likely you are to succeed, you're going to succeed, even if you're a worrywart, even if you're having pity parties, even if you're not living in the present. You're still going to succeed. You're still going to find joy, and you're still going to find yourself hey, back in the present, how did I get here? Life is so cool. It's auto-correcting. It's auto-balancing. It's auto-everything. And then you'll be a teacher of all these great truths because it's so easy. All right, 3:20. We'll do one or two more questions. I have the right attitude, good energy. Let me select this question. I have the right attitude, good energy. People even tell me they're inspired by me, but nothing I start ends up anywhere. Oh, as if I'm on the wrong path. Any tricks for determining your true calling? Hey, Cheryl, great question. That sounds a little painful, and I hope you're just uncharacteristically being hard on yourself right now, and that you're not always so hard on yourself. I am sure many things you start end up in the right place serving you. But tips for this, similar to the first question I answered, I would say, there is no one calling for anybody. There's no one purpose. There's no one thing to do. There's no one soulmate, truly. That doesn't mean there aren't ideal places to be given the flux and flow of your 60,000 thoughts a day, but they change from day to day. And there's more than one choice always. It would never be made so difficult for any of us. But thinking that there's only one really puts you in a terrifying place, particularly if you've been thinking that for years or decades. Then it must seem like I'm so off course. How will I ever find my way? But the fact of the matter is, what's important, as I shared in the first answer in this session, was know where your end results are. Happiness, joy, abundance, health, friends, laughter. That's your destiny. That's the purpose of every life. We have different priorities in each of those categories, but that's it. Joy, that's your priority. That's your purpose. I know you don't feel it right now, and I haven't felt it many times in my life. That is that joy, that sense of peace, that feeling of, I found my folks. But realize that as you start going and you hold on to this end result, pieces of the puzzle will start changing. And as you let go of this idea that there's one thing you're supposed to be doing, it's as if that's like the main ingredient that will get you on track into that thing that you might most ideally be doing. It's such a weird thing, time and space. Sometimes it's like you really gotta not care about the relationship or about money or about whatever it is that's missing in your life so that you can have it. But you can't just say, I don't care, okay? You have to really get that you could be doing 1,000,001 things happily, and then that one thing that's perfect for you shows up. But if you're pretending that you're open to 1,000,001 things and you're kind of peeking around for that one thing, is that you? Is that you? Nope, not count, does not count. You just got to be where you are in the moment. As to the last question, just make the most of it. If you've got a job you hate, but you don't know what else to do, keep that job and do it better and show up earlier and stay later and become the ace at folding shirts or sweeping the floor or doing those tedious, menial things that you hate and know that are beneath you. Now, I'm just making that up. I don't know you, Cheryl, but bloom where you're planted. And that doesn't mean you're going to have to stay there. Chances are extreme. It means you're going to be moving and relocating very, very soon, but only when you bloom where you first are. And don't bloom with the intention of moving. Bloom with the intention of blooming, with the intention of seeing and feeling life like you've never seen it before. Something just came to mind that I've got to be sharing with someone. And it's something I've got to be sharing with me as well. And that is a sense of resistance that comes up in a friend of mine's life. And there's this like, oh no, oh you. It's like, drop the resistance, because it just creates more of an attachment. And when you look at it like this, that stuff is showing up by design. It's part of the adventure. And if you can realize that you handling those buttons properly is the ticket for you to blast forward. It's not like, oh, I can't move forward because these nutty, crappy things keep happening in my life. It's like these are the leg up that you've summoned so that you can move forward. Like you dream of moving forward, but you need to take the leg up. You need to master these things, drop the resistance, face the fear, and then all of a sudden you will be that person who can go further than you can now go because you haven't stepped up and you didn't know that these were opportunities or stepping stones. Instead, you saw them as things to avoid or reasons that you couldn't achieve what you had earlier wanted to achieve. Fabulous questions, every single one of you. It is now 3:26. It's been almost 25 minutes. I've enjoyed every second of it. I plan on doing a lot more of these Google Hangouts. Somebody just said, I have the new book. It is not signed. I will see what happens. We don't sign. None of the books are signed. None of the new books are signed unless you ordered during a certain 1-week time frame last week per the specific instructions at tut.com in the shop for the Dead People Page book, which, as I promised earlier in this session, I will honor that, and I'm going to go talk to Cami right now. To anyone who still purchases following those rules and only following those rules, will happily sign for free 6 or more books that you purchase. Okay, you will have to pay for shipping to your place, but you have to pay for that almost anyway. So thanks. Enjoyed this very much. Look forward to seeing more of you. Happy week this Monday, November 10th.